We welcome you to episode 22 of Battin and Chattin here on the Eastern Observer alongside Denis Tuohy. I'm Brandon Natale. Now, before we get started, please hit that subscribe button on YouTube to be kept in on the loop on everything Eastern Observer and most importantly, Battin and Chattin. Our show can be found on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and wherever else podcasts can be found. Our show is presented to you by Black Cats NYC. Be sure to download their newest hit single, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us, which can be found wherever music is found, whether that's Spotify, iHeartRadio, SiriusXM, Satellite Radio, and many others. Dennis, how you doing today on this Wednesday?
I am doing fantastic. NBA is back. Got the game on next to me. Watching Victor Wembanyama in his debut with the Spurs against the Mavericks.
Okay,
Watched the Knicks Celtics. Knicks lost.
I saw.
It was a good game. My Suns won last night. Devils lost today. That's a bummer.
Mm,
But we'll prevail.
there you go. We prevail, but
Baseball.
but
Stoked for the World
Battin
Series.
chatting. Yeah, the World Series. Who would have thought? Diamondbacks. They would have made the 3-2 comeback.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly didn't. You know that.
Same with me.
I've been saying for the past month and a half of the season that I thought the Phillies were just far and away the best team in the National League, and I was wrong, evidently. So, yeah, I'm actually kind of bummed out. I covered this Phillies team
A lot of
for the
people.
Eastern Observer, so I was all in on it. I was
Right.
really locked in throughout
Yeah.
the entire season, and I'm really mad it's over.
Some runs have to end. It's unfortunate. That's how it is. But we prevail to see another season. I mean, the Phillies. I feel like the Philly fans, I feel like, are a lot. So I don't know. I feel like everyone's really rooting on not their downfall, but everyone's like just shocked of seeing their how much they because they lost last year the World Series. The Eagles lost the Super Bowl. Their soccer team lost their championship, and then
The
now
76ers have been a freaking dumpster fire.
the 76ers. So I don't know. It's the city of Philly. I mean, it's not looking good right now.
No, it's really not. It's weird. I mean, on the one hand, it's like, listen, there's so many different sports markets and teams and whatnot that would kill to even get to a Super Bowl or a World Series or to a conference finals. So it's like, at the end of the day, like, how mad can you be? That being said, to blow the Super Bowl, to get no hit in one of the games last year of the World Series, to blow a 3-2 lead in baseball, which really doesn't mean anything, but whatever, we'll go with it. And for the 76ers to have just imploded over the past couple of seasons, it's like, I mean, it does suck. On the one hand, like, it's a weird feeling, I'm sure, because on the
Right.
one hand, you got to be stoked that you're getting these opportunities that other teams aren't getting and other markets aren't getting. But on the other hand, like, it's almost becoming monotonous to get your hopes up and then have it fall apart. So
Mm.
Philly fans are probably in a rough spot right now. And let's be honest, they're not exactly a very, they can be a very temperamental fan base, to be polite.
Uh,
So
yeah, they got some temper, Philly. They're
just a little bit.
yeah, a little bit, a little temper, but at least you got to go see it to believe it. So well, we don't advise that here, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna say we don't advise that. But either way, they call it the city of brotherly love. I mean, I don't know if it ain't so brotherly.
Yeah, it certainly isn't too loving. Fans are not happy that the
Well,
Phillies lost. And listen, we'll get into it, but I wouldn't be happy either if I was a Philly fan.
right.
Those last two games was like it's pretty bad.
Well, the Diamondbacks,
I,
they're facing elimination. They came through.
I'm not trying to take anything away from the Diamondbacks. Everybody else has been, and I'm not trying to rain on their parade. The Phillies had some of the worst at bats I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I swear, you could have thrown the ball 19 inches out of the strike zone on the first pitch to Trey Turner, and he'd be swinging at it anyway.
Hmm.
He looked clueless in the last two games, and I'm not trying to bash him or whatever. Nick Castellanos is the same thing. That they just littered that lineup just fell apart. Alec Boehm was like the only one that you felt confident in.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, come on. And Schwarber. Come on. Like, you have this lineup here for a reason. I thought the pitching staff for the Phillies did well. They kept them in the games.
Nola did in Game 6. He kept them. He tried fighting, and the bats just weren't there. I was watching the game. The Diamondbacks pitching was just dominant. They were, striking out batters left and right.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks pitching staff has been flawless.
Yeah.
Aside from that 10-2 blight against the Phillies, they've been flawless. And even I kind of almost feel like that game kind of is a little reminiscent to that Nathan Eovaldi World Series game against the Dodgers in 2018, when the Red Sox did lose, but he came out of the bullpen. It was an extra innings game, and he just 8 innings and just saved the Red Sox bullpen for the rest of the series, while the Dodgers just kind of burned all their assets.
Mm.
So, like, I kind of almost feel like, even though the Diamondbacks lost 10-2, kind of feel like it was better they lost 10-2, because then the Phillies almost had like a false sense of security and confidence. They just swung at everything after that game. Everything.
Yeah.
Like, it was just bad at bat after bad at bat after bad at bat. They just didn't grind counts, which is something they've done all season long. And it sucks that they lost that way. And yeah, that's kind of the problem with them. When it rains, it pours. Sometimes you're just caught doing a rain dance. Like, that's kind of what happened with them. Is they were really pressing hard last night, and then when they lost, you have all the guys in that lineup, and it came down to freaking Jake Cave. I don't know what you want me to say. It's, come on. Yeah, Castellanos, after having a dominant wild card round in NLDS, ice cold in the last couple of games there. So they really fell apart, man. That being said, the Diamondbacks, Corbin Carroll, pretty good series. Ketel Marte, 16 consecutive postseason games with a hit, breaking Marquise Grissom's record of 15, trailing the great Hall of Famer Derek Jeter by just one game for the longest playoff hitting streak ever.
Okay, yeah.
In baseball history. So I'm really, they have guys, man. They were able to get to the World Series while Christian Walker is still struggling.
They had the guys, yeah.
Yeah, Gabriel Moreno's having a very good run. Evan Longoria. You want to talk about giving a good at bat? That guy's not going down in 3 pitches.
Yeah.
And that bullpen, they turn it into a 6-inning game. So
I think
I'm excited.
Paul Sewald has kind of led that bullpen, or who do you feel like is, because I mean, Paul Sewald, former Met, he closed out the Game 7, right?
When you have a closer as reliable and dominant as Paul Sewald has been over the past 2 years for the Seattle Mariners and now the Diamondbacks, and he did struggle for like the first week or two he was with the Diamondbacks, and we talked about it earlier this season. But when you have someone that could settle down and be that dominant and turn it into an 8-inning game, you really, really help your team out, especially in the playoffs. You know, when everybody's trying to preserve a bullpen or, do any kind of gimmick to get ahead, it's really helpful to say, you got to beat me in 8 innings. I have 27 outs to play with. You have 24. That's really valuable. And then you have Kevin Ginkel, who's very similar. And he had a 2-inning outing last night. So, like, once again, now you're turning it into a 21. You have 21 outs. How much can you get across? We have 27. When you work backwards in that regard, a starter, if you give up a run in 3 innings or whatever, that's not too atypical in the postseason. But when a bullpen can just completely take you out of it, and that's 7, 8, 9 innings, and turn it into a race to 6, it's really remarkable what they've been able to accomplish. Yeah. They have guys that you've never heard of in that bullpen that just consistently get their job done. And their starting pitching, Brandon Fat has been very good for them. Zach Gallen kind of hasn't been what they would have expected. Merrill Kelly had a very good Game 6. They took him out a little early, and you saw him get a little ticked off. But those two have been very consistent for them. So That being said, that team out of the American League, the Texas Rangers, they ain't no joke.
No, they're not. They are legit.
Yeah.
I know. Adolis Garcia. He definitely stole the show in Game 6 with that grand slam.
What a series for him. Adolis Garcia, he gets hit in Game 5. Astros win. Walk off by Altuve. The suspension is given to Brian Abreu, which is served at the beginning of next season, so I even have it. And bench is clear, whatever. The homie back fest, a waste of time. The waste of time benefits the Astros tremendously because then Jose Leclerc, the closer of the Rangers, kind of goes cold on the bench because he's not throwing.
Right.
And listen, I never pitched, so I don't know how much of a difference it makes. Every single player that's ever played says it makes a difference, so I'll take their word for it.
Yeah, and I agree.
And then here you go, you're back, and the Astros pull ahead, and of course Altuve hits the walk-off. Why wouldn't he? And there's no momentum, and now you're going back to Houston. The thing that benefits you is the Astros kind of suck at Houston. They lost in 2019. Every single home game they lost to the Nationals.
Yeah.
Even throughout the season, their home field advantage has never really been that good since 2017. And we know what that advantage was, where it stemmed from. They cheated. And listen, I'm just saying it bluntly.
You would think that winning in home field, like having a home field advantage, would benefit them in that sense, especially with what they were doing. You would have thought that would have benefited them, but
right. So 2017, they had a great home field advantage, and since then it hasn't been the same. And we know why. Because they cheated in 2017. Supposedly not in 18 and 19. I'll take their word for it. Doesn't mean I have to believe it. But yeah. Listen, all I'm saying is I cheated so much in high school and college and got away with it, so I kept doing it. I don't know anybody that's ever cheated on anything and just decided, I'm going to stop. But whatever.
But either way, I think it was still a great Lone Star series.
Oh yeah, it went to 7 games, and you got a real rivalry out of it. What did I say on this show a week or two ago? I want rivalries.
Yeah,
this last week when I was talking about the
Yankees, Red Sox,
the Bryce Harper Orlando Arcia thing. Was like I want rivalries, and by the end of Game 7 last night, these 2 nights ago, these two teams hate each other.
Yeah,
which I think is good for the sport. It's good. It makes for the great social media breakout clips. It makes for a good talking point on SportsCenter.
A great talking point for Battin and Chattin.
Great talking point for Battin and Chattin. It's like this is kind of what you want. And I'm glad that there's finally like another budding rivalry in the American League because the Yankees and Astros, it wasn't a rivalry. The Astros would always win.
Yeah,
at least now
last year.
Now you have a team that can go toe-to-toe to them, similar to the 2000s Red Sox-Yankees, right? Where it really was back and forth. Game 7 in 2003, Yankees blow the 3-0 lead in 04. Before that, there was the race to get A-Rod. A-Rod goes to the Red Sox. No, actually, he goes to the Yankees.
Right.
There's a lot of storylines there. The whole Pedro Martinez, the Yankees are my daddy thing. Yeah. Him and Jorge Posada. You want to talk about players that hate each other? Those two guys loathed each other. So, God, they hated each other. And made it very well known they hated each other.
Or David Ortiz and Jeter, they seem kind of like they like each other on their team.
Oh, probably, yeah. Like Ortiz seems to get along well with everybody. But for those from that 1999 to like 2009 stretch, those teams hated each other. And then as the guys retired and whatnot, and those cores faded, kind of died down. But we'll see with the Rangers and the Astros how that goes. One thing I do know is the Rangers got a lot of young, good players, man. Evan Carter, Josh Young at the third baseman, Jonah Heim, switch hitting catcher. And Adolis Garcia is a lot younger than I thought he was. So it's like he's only like 25, 26.
Wow. Yeah.
So they got like a nice young core.
They got a
And then
great.
you got the veterans of Corey Seager and Marcus Semien,
I mean,
the
yeah.
veteran pitching staff, and Scherzer and Evaldi and Montgomery. They
And
got a
it's
nice team here, man.
like I said, and I know I said it last week, and I'll say it again this week. They don't have Jacob deGrom. Imagine what they could. I mean, do you feel like the dynamic could have been the same, or do you feel like it would have stayed the course with deGrom? Like, do you feel like it would have stayed the same with deGrom, or do you feel like they would have been a different team?
It's tough because I think your question, the answer lies in another question of if they had deGrom, would they have gotten Scherzer?
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
very
think they
true.
would have, because you already would have had that role filled.
Yeah,
Now, maybe they do get Scherzer anyway, and let's say they, for argument's sake, they get Scherzer and they still have deGrom. The same Scherzer trade goes through, all the same assets move, so we don't have to get a headache thinking about it.
right.
Dude, a pitching staff of Nathan Evaldi, sub 3 ERA in this postseason. Jordan Montgomery, sub 3 ERA in this postseason.
Mhm.
Max Scherzer and Jacob deGrom, bro.
That's insane.
What are we
I
talking
mean,
about?
you
What are
can
we
see
talking about?
Chris Young put
Like,
together great, obviously a great team. And a lot of people, I remember when deGrom signed with the Rangers, like, because they weren't the way they are this year. Like the past,
no, they had
like
won a 100-loss season before that.
yeah, the way they were this year, they weren't like this the past couple of seasons. That they were, like you said, they had 100 loss seasons. They were, 100 loss season, I think in 21, and last year they maybe were like 60, like 64 and 98. They weren't that good. And I remember when deGrom signed with the Rangers, even I questioned it. I'm like, and a lot of people said, I guess because a lot of people were heated that he left. So they're like, why is deGrom going, to the Mets and just won 100 games, or the Rangers, who were like a bottom low team? And no one kind of realized what was kind of transpire. Like deGrom knew something that we didn't. He saw the potential in the team. He was like, no, they're not what you think they are. They are watch them. And we watched single handedly this whole postseason so far, and now they're in the World Series. So it was cool watching them clinch it at the end. It was, they were dominating the Astros to the point where people were leaving because they knew it. They were done. That's it. The fans left because their season's done. And just, seeing Chris Young talking to Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, they were asking them like, what is your thoughts? Like, after knowing that you're heading to how's it feel that, knowing that you're heading to the World Series after signing with the team, like, 2 years ago or however long they were. And you can just see it's definitely a great team put together. And the sky's the limit for the Rangers. And it's going to be interesting to see how they play in the World Series.
Yeah, it is. And listen, I think it kind of, people did give deGrom a lot of flack for saying I'm going there to win a World Series, and everybody's like, yeah, dude, you're making $50 million a year, sure.
Yeah.
So like, uh, I get it. Like at first, and guess what? I was one of the loudest people with that. So I'm not trying to like besmirch the people that were saying, "Oh, come on, give me a break." So, like, this is what happens when your team is saying when Chris Young sits down with the guys and their agents, the players and their agents, and he says, "This is our plan. This is our strategy." That's what DeGrom was talking about. We're going to spend money. We're going to make moves. Look at the guys in our minor leagues. Yeah, we lost a lot of seasons lately. The good thing is that means we're getting high draft picks. It means we're getting guys like Adolis Garcia, Josh Young, Jonah Heim, Evan Carter. And then, by the way, then we just bring in a Hall of Fame manager.
Yeah, Bruce Bochy.
Like, that really means something. That really, really means something. And Bruce Bochy, I mean, we've talked about him a lot to get here. And yeah, so since the LCS format was introduced in 1969, Bruce Bochy became the first manager to take 3 separate teams to the World Series. First with the Padres in 1998, when his team lost in 4 games to the Yankees, and then 3 more times with the San Francisco Giants, winning 3 rings in 2010, 12, and lastly in 2014. This is Bochy's first season at the helm of the Texas Rangers, and it has obviously been a clear and resounding success, which is a testament to their front office, their strategy, and their plan, and how they operate. And listen, like we're going to go back to the Mets and losing Scherzer. And what did he say? They said that they're not trying to win within the next few years. So, like those kinds of things matter to players, especially when they're older. So I get it. I get it from DeGrom now. I didn't get it then, and I get it now. Now, is he going to be a part of their future? Realistically, not saying that. Oh, they're going to trade him, dude. You got to stay healthy.
Yep.
You got to stay healthy because if they had DeGrom healthy for this World Series, first of all, you want to talk about cementing your legacy as one of the best pitchers ever. I mean, that's the stage to do it on. Second, this wouldn't even be a question. This wouldn't even be a question.
Yeah.
Scherzer, DeGrom, Evaldi, Montgomery. My God. That's a rotation. Throw whoever you want in that fifth spot. Martin Perez, John Gray, Dane Dunning, who led the team in wins in the regular season. Andrew Heaney is the other guy I was just thinking of. Whoever you want. Go ahead.
They're just loaded.
That's like, man.
You want to talk about a team that has everything, everything at the barbecue, all the food on one plate. All
They got all the ingredients, man.
They all got all the ingredients mixed up for one of the best dishes ever. Texas Rangers. Chris Young, he's cooking up a dish. I mean, it's paying off dividends, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like I said, I definitely credit to Bruce Bochy because I think they mentioned something where he's now taken 3 teams, or he's been to 4 World Series now. As
he's been to 3 World Series with 3 different teams.
Right. I think they mentioned they were talking about like Casey Stengler and like Joe Torre. I don't know if you saw that stat where like I don't know if it was.
I didn't see it.
I don't know if it was like different, like going to 4 World Series, like different managers.
If I'm guessing, maybe this is it. Going to a World Series in 3 different decades. Is that what it was?
It might have been.
Just if I have to guess, in the 90s with the Padres,
let me see
the 2010s with the Giants, and then the 2020s with the Rangers.
Let me see if I can do my research.
So
my buddy research. But either way, like it was kind of cemented Bruce Bochy's like legacy as like one of the best managers ever for the fact like ever for what he was able to do. Stats. Let's see. I don't know if I'm gonna find it, but
no, it's okay.
Interesting to see. He looking at his player stats, he played for the Padres.
I didn't know that.
And he was a Met.
He was a young manager too when he first started.
He was a Met.
38? 38 when he was a first manager?
He's currently 68. He was born in France.
Bonjour.
Yeah, oui.
I think I did read that once, that he was born in.
Yeah, I think that's funny.
How did I get that?
Anyway, he leaves his third franchise.
Okay.
That's crazy though. He came out of retirement. Is he in the Hall of Fame already or no?
No.
Not yet. No.
It's so stupid. I'm so glad the NBA does this, that current coaches could get into the Hall of Fame. It's so lame. Oh my God.
I can see it.
It's so freaking lame. Who does it benefit? Who does it benefit by not allowing a current manager to get into the Hall of Fame? Yo, these guys aren't exactly kids. Come on, like let's be realistic here. We're gonna get to Dusty Baker, who had a great career.
We will get to that.
Officially retired earlier this afternoon. He's gonna wait 5 years, man. We all know he's a Hall of Famer. He never won a Game 7. Sure. How many did he get to? With how many different teams? He's a Hall of Famer. Done. Let's move on. But like, it's come on. What are we waiting for?
Here it is.
Bruce Bochy's a Hall of Famer. I remember when Tony La Russa had come out of retirement. I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent, but people are like, it's ridiculous. He's a Hall of Famer. How could he come out of retirement? This is why you have to wait 5 years. When. Shut up.
You tell him, D-Train.
These guys are old as dirt.
I think I agree
Bro.
because I mean, yeah, like I think that's pretty cool. In the NBA, you could just if you're still coaching, like say Patrick Ewing, say he was coaching the Knicks, he wasn't in the Hall of Fame yet, but then they inducted him. Go right ahead.
Yeah, Popovich is a literal Hall of Famer, and I'm watching him coach right now. Oh my God, the world isn't on fire. It's what are we doing? It's the stupidest thing in the Hall of Fame
Yeah,
is that
it's the
coaches have
same
to
thing
wait
in the
5 years.
NFL. Like you got to retire. I guess I believe it's the same. No, actually, no. In the NFL,
I'm okay for it with players. You don't want prisoner of the moment, whatever. But for coaches or managers, it's like, what year is a manager not a Hall of Famer, then a Hall of Famer the next year? What circumstance is that going to happen? Everybody said he had to win a title, and then he won the title. Now he's a bona fide first ballot Hall of Famer. Easy. No, that's never. I'm telling you, that's never going to happen.
well, I know in the NFL, I know Dick LeBeau. He was defense coordinator for the Steelers, but he was inducted into the Hall of Fame already. Jerry Jones, he's owner of the Cowboys, but he still got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Everything, the Hall of Fame process, it's so weird, Dennis. With
So
any sport, I
bizarre.
guess it's just it's a weird process,
The,
and I get
the,
it because it's such a prestigious honor, but I don't know. You understand what I'm trying to say?
I do get what you're trying to say. Major League Baseball in particular, though, it's so strange to me that the managers, it's like, it's so weird to me that they can't get Hall of Fame eligibility while being in the league.
You
It's
guess what
so bizarre.
maybe we should be voters in Ken. No,
We
Cooperstown.
definitely should be. Have you seen
Cooperstown,
what some of these idiots are putting out there?
Ohio, the Nesmith Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I just went to Canton this weekend. Had a nice time.
Yeah, you gotta tell me about that later. And you lucky son
Took
of a
some
gun.
nice pictures. Took a picture with the Super Bowl trophy.
Oh, stop it.
Oh,
Stop it. You're making me. But anyways, we'll get to that later. But I found the stat I wanted to show you because I know I think it was Ken Rosenthal or one of the reporters that was interviewing Bochy after they wanted they clinched the pennant. So because they asked him, they said, well, they told him the stat. They said, Bruce Bochy, they told him you have 3 World Series titles. The stat says he's bidding to join an exclusive list. Only 5 managers have one more. Twice, Casey Stengler with 7, Joe McCarthy with 7, Connie Mack with 5, Walter Alston with 4, and Joe Torre with 4. So, I guess they're asking like, it's like interesting list to join, because like he could be the next manager to have 4 World Series titles as manager.
hmm
Because I guess it's not very common. I guess, which is pretty shocking to me. I would have thought more managers would have been on that. I mean, it's still a good list.
but he
Yeah,
can't be a Hall of Famer.
I guess not. But
So
Casey Stengler,
strange.
wow, that's a good to see that name. First ever Met manager.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he went 5 straight with the Yankees. I think he had a good idea what he was doing.
Oh yeah, and but yeah, that's the stat I wanted to show you because when they mentioned Stangler, then they mentioned Torrey and then Connie Mack. I had to read that too,
That is interesting.
and they
That
said because I got that from MLB.com, and they also said that Bochy has 6 wins in winner take all postseason games as a manager. That's the most in postseason history. Bochy is also the 13th. That was his 13th managerial win in a postseason game when facing elimination, as he has notched 12 such in Game 6. He has now 2 more than any other manager in history, according to Ellis Sports Bureau. So,
undefeated in Game Sevens too.
but he still can't be a Hall of Famer.
Not yet. It's so
Not yet.
weird. It is so weird. But yeah, should we do our official preview of the of the World Series?
I think before we do that, I think there's one thing I want to mention.
Of course, take your time.
Did you know that apparently that was the Phillies' first ever Game 7 ever in postseason history?
I did know that, and
Is
I
that true?
saw a lot of people were shocked, and I am totally not shocked. And
Why?
here's why: the Phillies were really, really, really bad for a long time.
Okay.
Really bad for a long time. And I guess the only time they would have gotten it would have been in 90. Help me out here, 93.
Maybe.
when they played the Blue Jays, the Mitch Williams game. I could have sworn that was a
Oh,
game
wait, in the
7.
World Series?
Yeah, the Joe
Oh,
Carter
yeah,
game.
93, 94, or
Yeah,
92?
something like
One
it.
of the
It
two.
definitely was in 94. Hold on, let me look this up. This is gonna drive me crazy. Blue Jays versus Phillies World Series. Okay, should have specified World Series. World Series. Wikipedia. 4-2. Right, I knew that. Ended at Skydome. Walk off Joe Carter. 1993.
Okay.
That would have been like the only time they could have gotten it, because Game 7s. I mean, when was the first Game 7? Not in the 1969. We went over this last week. So when were Game 7s first introduced? It's kind of working backwards. This is how I figured out that it made total sense. When were Game 7s introduced to baseball? 1985. The Phillies were freaking terrible. Terrible for much of the 90s. So really, it's like since 2007, how many Game 7s do you think they would have gotten in? Because obviously the Joe Carter game is an iconic Game 6. I think a lot of people retroactively think it's a Game 7 because it's an iconic walk-off touch 'em all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger homer in your life.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people just think that was a Game 7, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
But it's like, and no, 140 years they've been around, they've never been in a Game 7. Well, Game 7s didn't exist for 100 of those. So yeah, that makes total sense.
Even the Mets have had a Game 7. 86,
Right.
at least 86, probably 88. Well, 73 when they unfortunately lost the Athletics.
Didn't exist yet, I guess, right? Because it just said in 1985 was the first one.
Okay, never mind. I was wrong for that. I
Since
take
the
credit.
85 season, they have used a best of 7 format, except for 1994, obviously.
My apologies for that, folks.
So
I was wrong on that because the Mets did not face
it was a best of 5 series before that.
My apologies, folks.
I guess, but I could have sworn there's Game 7s before that.
Oh,
Listen, I'm giving myself a headache here.
Well, yeah.
Point of the matter is, I wasn't surprised to find that out.
Yeah, that's me. I thought it was crazy. But let's move on to now the World Series preview. I think it's so, but to end it, credit to the Diamondbacks, credit to the Texas Rangers, wild card teams. It shows that you don't. And I will ask you this later, but maybe I'll say it now. I mean, it's be interesting later. It shows that maybe you don't need to have the highest payroll in baseball to reach the top of the mountain.
The
When it's all said
Rangers
and done.
almost $500 million in 2 players.
Was it close to right? But either way, I mean, they weren't. They released top 10 though.
Yeah.
Not with the Padres or the Mets or the Yankees.
Oh yeah, but the Rangers are right below. They're a big one.
They're close. All right, but either way, we'll save that for later. But either way, 2 wild card teams. Nobody had any thoughts. No one had any predicted them. I'm sure people probably picked the Dodgers. A lot of people probably picked the Braves. No one would have thought the Phillies would make another run as they did. They were close. They were close to doing it again. But credit to Texas Rangers. Chris Young, like I said, credit to him, the GM of the team. He's assembled. He's cooking up a great dish, as I said, and just credit to him. The Diamondbacks, what a run. Thank you for, I feel like the Phillies did it for them when they cursed out the Braves, and then after that, they were like, and the Mets. I was like, all right, that's it. You guys lost me. I had respect for them, but when you bring the Mets involved, that kind of hits a little to me. I still had a lot of respect for them. I thought they were going to make it to the World Series. I had them making it to the World Series, but Diamondbacks proved me wrong. Tommy Pham is now heading to the World Series. Travis Jankowski, Max Scherzer, and Jacob deGrom going to the World Series. So credit to those guys. I think it's going to be an interesting World Series. I don't think a lot of people would have loved to have seen an Astros-Phillies World Series because no one wants to see the. I mean, from Yankee side, no one wants to see the Astros. From Mets side, no one wants to see the Phillies. So it would have been a tough World Series to watch. So I feel like it's definitely. I think it's definitely interesting to see that Arizona, they're ready, like you said. What from Arizona has won it. Cardinals were close in 08, but San Antonio home said otherwise. And Texas, they're craving. It's both two teams craving a World Series win for their city.
Yeah.
So that's my thoughts on that.
Unless I'm wrong, the Arizona, we talked about this last week, they've only had one championship,
Yeah, we did talk about it last week. Yeah,
2001 with the Diamondbacks. So this is a big, big, big deal for them. And listen, I mean, to your credit, talking about the wild card teams, their combined win totals on the season of 174 is the lowest ever, excluding the 2020 shortened season, obviously.
right.
For the first time ever, the road team won both Game 7s. Arizona has only been to one other World Series ever when they defeated the Yankees in Game 7 at home in 2001. The Rangers have been to 2, losing both appearances, first against Bochy's Giants in 2010, and then losing to the Cardinals in a Game 7 the following year. So it's those narratives are there. I will have a disclaimer of, if you're not a diehard baseball fan, you may not really get into it because there aren't the stars that people really watch. There's not the Altuves and Harpers and whatnot. There's not the kind of household names. This is a stage that guys can be elevated to that. But it's if you're like a baseball fan, this is going to be a really good watch. These are two very evenly matched teams. Kind of a yin and yang effect of, the Rangers can just outpower you for 9 innings. Their lineup is ridiculous. And they are athletic, and they do play excellent defense and have good fundamental understandings of how to play the game. And they have a good starting rotation. They also have one of the worst bullpens ever assembled. The Diamondbacks have such a dominant bullpen right now, and I'll get to their players in a bit, that are just, they turn the game into a 6-inning game. And it's going to be really interesting, that dichotomy. And it's going to be interesting, like, Max Scherzer, we don't know what we're getting from him, and he has a very good track record of playing well. Zach Gallen, we have no idea what we're going to be getting from him, and he's going to get Cy Young votes for this season. Yeah. So there's a lot of kind of, once again, almost like a mirror of each other in certain aspects of, one does one well, one does the other well. One has a similar player, one has, Evan Carter and Corbin Carroll, two rookies playing extremely well. We'll see. I'm very excited. I am very excited because this is a baseball fans World Series. People are going to be talking about the ratings and whatnot, and it's like, listen, man, like, I don't like dwelling on the ratings too much. I'm not expecting this to be a highly rated World Series at all. At all. But I do think if you're a fan of baseball, even a casual fan of baseball, you got to check this out. This is going to be a really good one.
Oh, 100%. I agree.
So both teams, you want to talk about getting there through the tough way, getting there the hard way? Both teams, man. Both teams swept division leaders. That is, I mean, they went 4-0. They went 5-0 against division leaders.
Both teams are
5-0 in the first 2 rounds, and then I guess they lost 3, so 5-3, 9-3 against division leaders for the Rangers. Underdogs the whole way out for both teams. Underdogs in every round. So it's really, really good. I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
So,
all right. I'm excited too.
So, I'll get into some of these players to watch out for. If you are a casual fan and maybe you're, want to learn a little more about these players. NLCS MVP Ketel Marte, the 30-year-old second baseman, has made a name for himself as a big player. Like I mentioned earlier, getting a hit in all 16 playoff games of his Diamondbacks career, surpassing Marquise Grissom for the most ever by a National League player with 15. I'll repeat it. Trailing Derek Jeter is the only player ever with a higher postseason hitting streak, 17. Marte hit 387 across the 7-game series of the NLCS, while tallying 3 RBIs, 5 extra base hits, and 12 total hits, which is completely automatic in that Game 6 and 7. It's, well, not 7, but Game 6, it seemed like every time he came up, it was a hit, and just backbreaking hit after hit after hit for the Diamondbacks. And we were spoke highly of the Diamondbacks bullpen. So I'll give you the numbers to back it up. Relief pitcher Kevin Ginkel, one of their high leverage guys that they go to in that, once again, that 7-8 range right before Seawald, kind of the calm before the storm for the Diamondbacks. He's pitched in 8 postseason games in 2023, 9 innings total, allowing 0 earned runs with 13 strikeouts and just 6 hits and 2 walks. Closer Paul Seawald, we've spoken a lot about him today, has pitched in 8 innings this postseason, allowing 0 earned runs with 11 strikeouts while only conceding 3 hits and a walk. So an outstanding postseason run here for Paul Seawald and that bullpen. And I'm just excited. So, Brandon, I'll ask you, who from the Diamondbacks are you interested in seeing? I had highlighted Marte, Ginkel, and Seawald.
I definitely agree with Seawald. I mean, like I said, because, like you said, and just what was written about him earlier, we just announced by him. He's been dominant for them as he pitched 8 innings this postseason, only allowing 0 earned runs with 11 strikeouts, only conceding 3 hits and a walk. Former Met, forgot, mention him along with Jankowski and DeGrom. Just a dominant pitcher for the Diamondbacks, and because like you said, the bullpen right now is the Diamondbacks' biggest strength. It's one of the biggest strengths. So I'm interested to see how he performs against the Texas Rangers, who have a loaded lineup and they're hot and they're ready to go. Whether it's Simeon, Seager, or Garcia, who just dominated. He had the most, if I'm correct, he had the most RBIs in the series or in the postseason.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's in total postseason, but I didn't see one thing or the other. He had 15 in 7 games against the Astros. Pretty good.
It's really good, yeah.
Pretty good.
So I'm interested to see how Seawald and how the bullpen, because like I said, the Diamondbacks bullpen, they got a great line. The Rangers have a great lineup. It's going to be interesting to see how they keep up, because the Diamondbacks could have the lead, and the Rangers, they've been putting up a fight. So it's going to be interesting to see how one team goes against the other, and it's going to be a true test. So it's going to be interesting to see how the bullpen's going to keep up, with the Diamondbacks, because they're going to try to get as much leads as they can. Because the Rangers, they have a lot of fight. So going to see how that bullpen keeps up. Definitely Ketel Marte, he's been great for them. So it's just going to be really interesting to see. He's 30 years old. Damn, that's insane.
I thought he was a lot younger.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, I thought he was a lot younger too. So he's red hot too. And on the Rangers side, I'm interested to see how. I want to see how the pitching holds up, because I know they got Scherzer pitching. I think, is Evaldi pitching game 1?
Yes, he's been announced as the game 1 starter.
Okay. Good for Evaldi. Definitely, I like to see how the pitching holds up. Montgomery, great lefty pitcher. He's been playing dominant. They got pitching left and right. Like you said, you name it, Andrew Heaney, John Gray. John Gray, am I correct? So I like to see how the starting pitching holds up against the Diamondbacks, who they can hit when they can. I want to see how they come out, because I want to see how Scherzer's going to pitch, because I know that he didn't have a good game. A lot of people kind of rattling on him, but then he started Game 7. A lot of people were worried for the Rangers. But he only pitched like 4 innings because then Montgomery came in. So I think the Rangers have a lot of depth. So I feel like if people start to panic on them, they shouldn't have to worry. Like, I feel like people shouldn't have to worry about them because they have the depth. Where it's, something happens to Scherzer, you got Montgomery, or you got Heaney, you got Evaldi, you got all these players and all these pieces. Maybe the bullpen is not as good for them as you alluded to earlier, but I think if they needed to rely on some pitching, they have some starters that can fill in relief for them.
Yeah.
I like to see how. I wonder how Aroldis Chapman's going to do. I feel like he has not been talked about enough, or a lot. Not that he should, but I'm just saying, like, I haven't heard his name.
I'll tell you what, if you want a close game, you can't wait to see him come in, because that guy, it ain't never easy. It's never easy with that guy, man. It is it's a watch for sure. I talked about him earlier, but he reminds me so much of Mitch Williams from the early 90s Phillies. If you watch some of those highlights of it's just like the ball leaves his hand and let Jesus take the wheel. Like it's kind of like you have no idea where that ball is going to go. He has no idea where that ball is going to go, but you know you're in for a show. And I'm excited. I'm excited. A lot of Yankee fans wanted to see Chapman fail. I don't. It's just because like he had like the last 2 years at the Yankees were bad. He had off-field issues as well. People forget he was dominant for a while with the Yankees. No run DMC going back almost 10 years ago now. How time flies. And he got his Gleyber Torres for nothing, literally for nothing, because he rejoined us in free agency. He's already got a ring. I kind of like, I don't think people realize that Aroldis Chapman is like this close to being a Hall of Famer.
Really? Okay.
I mean, he's got over 300 saves. He's the hardest thrower ever.
Yeah. Oh, he's got gas. That arm is it's yeah.
He hit Chas McCormick with a 104-mile-an-hour sinker in Game 7.
Jesus.
Like, dude's got his arm is a lethal weapon. Like,
yeah,
it's
insane. It's insane. Yeah,
he's already got a ring. He closed out the 2016 World Series. Well, I don't think he actually was.
He didn't close it out. No,
no,
he did pitch in that Game 7, but he didn't close it out.
He did. He actually got them kind of in the jam, but
he did. Yes, I remember that. Yeah, but either way, he's insane. And I remember seeing him a couple times when he was on the Yankees. I feel bad when I think of him. I definitely think of that Game 6, unfortunately, in 19, because the look on his face when Altuve hit that ball. You can see he wasn't laughing at that. That he was laughing like shoot.
You got me.
Yeah, like that.
It was kind of like a sportsmanship, like you win some, you lose some. And Yankee fans were like had to be talked off the Verrazano Bridge over it, but whatever.
I just remember, and just to end it, because I definitely, like I remember just looking at his face and like, wow, my poor Chapman, and like a lot of people think, and I'm not going to go off on that. A lot of people think Altuve kind of, tell Liam I said hi if someone's walking down.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I was looking at the game. Nobody's here.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, my apologies. Tell Greg Pop I said hi.
Yeah. That's Greg Popovich.
But Chapman. Chapman. Yeah, because I remember Chapman does get a lot of hate. You guys got Gleyber Torres kind of for free, because
we literally got him for free.
Not for we
traded Chapman and then got him right back. So it's not. It costs us nothing. Some guys just to wrap it up, last player on the Diamondbacks, we got to talk about him. He's going to win Rookie of the Year. And 12 postseason games played. Corbin Carroll has a .295 batting average with 7 walks, 8 strikeouts, 6 RBIs, 2 homers, 13 hits, 4 stolen bases, only 1 caught stealing, an OPS of .851 this postseason. So really, really solid run for Corbin Carroll as a rookie. Really solid.
Yeah, definitely good for him. I guess he definitely makes the case for winning NL Rookie of the Year. Obviously,
Sure. I still think it should go to Senga, but I'm so obviously in the minority there that I'm not even going to argue it. One thing that did stand out to me is some of the defense with the Diamondbacks in this series and the NLCS was a little bad. I think they had 5 errors total in the series, if I'm not mistaken. So that's something to kind of keep an eye out for. The Rangers defense has been immaculate. We saw the Adolis Garcia home run robbery on was it Brantley in game 2, 3? I forget.
It had to be game 2.
But really, really good run for him, and he can also do it with the bat. Moving on to the Rangers, players to watch out for. 2023 ALCS MVP center fielder Adolis Garcia had 15 RBIs across 7 games against the Astros, including a game-ending grand slam in Game 6 and 2 bombs in Game 7. Wasn't a walk-off in Game 6, but it ended the game. If you saw the reaction on the Astros, they were checked out. They were checked. That I think, did I say in that? I said in one of our chats, right? that I said that somebody was saying the Rangers are going to lose because Scherzer sucks.
It had
And then I
probably
said,
it was our friend Mikey.
yeah, and then I said I don't know because the Astros looked so defeated after that grand slam. It turned out to be completely right. They had zero fight in Game 7, zero. They went out with a whimper, and their pitching staff fell apart too. Christian Javier, who's been nails in the postseason, one of the best
Right.
postseason pitchers ever statistically, who's started a no hitter last year in the World Series and just got lit up, couldn't even get out of the third inning.
Mm.
So this Rangers lineup, man, they're no joke. And the tip of the spear has been Adolis Garcia. So the strikeouts with him are always a concern. But hey, man, you'll take 15 RBIs across seven games at any point in this season, especially in October. Moving on to Nathan Eovaldi Nitro, getting the start in Game 1 and coming into the World Series with a record of 4-0 and an ERA of 2.45 across 26 games with 28 strikeouts. He has been as dependable as they come. He keeps getting in jams and then he keeps getting out of jams. And he's like an escape artist. He's been phenomenal this postseason run. And I think their best overall player. He's, an auto win when he starts, basically. You already pencil in as a dub. And I'm excited to see how he plays in his second World Series. The first, we had mentioned it previously, 2018, when he won a ring with the Boston Red Sox. And then lastly, for the guys on the Rangers, I'm keeping an eye out for Jordan Montgomery, the former Yankee and Cardinal, has had an outstanding 2023 postseason with an ERA of 2.16 and 5 games played and a record of 3-0, while striking out 17 batters and allowing just 7 runs, and an excellent defensive play in Game 2 against the Rays. I still can't get over that. When he dove for that ball, man, sheesh. But that's it. That's the 3 guys to watch for, according to me, on the Rangers. I'm excited. Garcia, Eovaldi, and Montgomery. Brandon, who are you keeping an eye out for in particular?
I definitely should think. Definitely, like I said, Montgomery. I want to see how 3 pitching. I want to see how Montgomery come. I want to see how he plays. That's on the Rangers. I want to see how Court. Because I feel like the infielders, either Simeon or Seager, Corey Seager. I want to see how they play. Because I know that's definitely interesting.
Seager's Simeon's got to step it up.
Yeah.
He's got to step it up. At this point, my patience has ran out, and I know every other fans' patience have run out. Led the league in hits during the regular season, and has been so bad in this postseason, man. I'm not trying to hate on the guy. I'm really not. He's a good player, but he has a 192 batting average and 10 hits in 12 games. Which honestly, when you say 12 hits in 10 games, 10 hits in 12 games, that doesn't seem too bad. But they just kind of come in spurts.
Right.
And then it's long droughts without 2 extra base hits, 6 walks, 6 strikeouts, which honestly a 1-for-1 ratio isn't awful. 2 RBIs. So he's putting together good at bats. The ball is just not finding the grass.
Yeah.
And that sucks. So we'll see, man. But that
Another
192
player,
batting average, if he gets going, if him and Seager get going with Garcia, don't worry.
Forget about it.
Don't worry about it.
So I like to see
two.
it. I like to see it because those I feel like one of the 2 big name players on the team. They I want to see how they perform in the spotlight, and I want to see how Max Scherzer plays. I want to see how because didn't have a good game. First game he pitched, did decent for them in Game 7. Only he didn't pitch. He didn't pitch the whole game, but still, that's a player I'm looking for. Am I wrong with that, Max Scherzer?
No, because he's so important to them.
Yeah, they traded for him, and he didn't pitch for like a month and a half, so that he's coming in the postseason. He's kind of filling that Jacob deGrom spot in a way. Well, you can make the argument of all these kind of done that, but either way, they still traded for him and big deadline piece. So it's gonna be interesting to see because, not to say his legacy is on the line for this, which it shouldn't, but the last starts for the postseason haven't been that dominant for Scherzer. And his legacy shouldn't be talked about because Max Scherzer has his own legacy. But
Yeah, they already have the plaque written
ready for him
and
in Cooperstown.
in Cooperstown. It's already there.
Yeah,
It's
so
just
yeah,
a
no,
matter of him saying, "I'm retired," and then having to wait the 5 years. So,
right.
like,
His legacy is not ruined. It's not at all. But
no,
you would definitely want to go out on a good note.
yeah, and this is his third World Series. One
Yeah,
with the Tigers, one with the Nationals, which he won, and one for
no.
the Rangers. This is the tie-breaking World Series for Max Scherzer. Lost one, won one.
Yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. So that's for the Rangers, and as for the Diamondbacks, obviously, like I said, Paul Sewald. I want to see how Tommy Pham does. I want to see how Tommy Pham does. Like I said, um, and obviously Qatar Marte, and you want to see Corbin Carroll. You want to see how these guys play. And now, I mean, young players. Even though Marte, he's 30, but he's still kind of young. You want to see how they play. And up there,
Yeah.
NLCS MVP. Um, it's gonna. You want to see how these players perform in the big spotlights on right on them. So I definitely think those are players to look out for, the Diamondbacks. And so when it's all said and done, Dennis, who do you got?
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, and I'm a dumbass. I'm not gonna let the Diamondbacks fool me for a 4th time. Not happening. I'm already wearing the dunce cap. It's a Giants hat, so it might as well be the way this season's been. But that was a bad joke. Wearing the G-Men hat, whatever. Listen, I think um I'm sick and tired of going up against the Diamondbacks and them eating my words. I played for the Diamondbacks in Little League. So there's a little personal connection there. I like the Rangers team a little more. I like Bruce Bochy a lot. But I got the Diamondbacks, and I'll do you one better, buddy. Not only am I going to pick the Diamondbacks to win, I'm going to say Evan Longoria, World Series MVP.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
I'm going
Okay.
all in. I'm going all
Okay.
old James Holzhauer from Jeopardy, all in.
Okay. What makes Evan Longoria so special to you right now? Where
I love a good story. That's it. That's the answer. Hasn't been to the World Series in 15 years. Hasn't been to a LCS in 15 years. He conquered one mountain. He was gonna retire in the offseason. His wife talks him out of it. And it's the story. It's the MLB, 40 years from now when we watch the Evan Longoria biopic on MLB Network, if televisions are still the same, and if our robot overlords haven't enslaved us yet, I'll be watching it and I'll be saying, I remember watching that World Series when Evan Longoria won his World Series MVP, and his last game of his career at home in Arizona, Game 6, confetti falling with his family, ready to retire. The old man sitting on the hill, looking at the village, ready to call it a day. Hard day's work.
Okay.
World Series MVP Evan Longoria. So it has. I want to be clear. Nothing to do with baseball. Not one bit. It's just the story of it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. There's nothing
No,
wrong with that. But
it can happen. Oh no, it can't happen. Oh, rats! I forgot about the games. It's games 3, 4, and 5 are at home, not 6. I was thinking NBA. I'm watching the. All right, so he'll be on the road in Texas. Whatever. He'll be on the road, conquered another territory, all in a hard day's work. Boom. The Evan Longoria fantasy is still fulfilled. Buddy, your thoughts?
Wow.
Weird.
I thought that was well said, Evan Longoria. Definitely, would love to get him on the primetime rundown if we can manage that in the off season.
Yeah.
That would be dope. Like I said, hopefully 10 or 15 years when the Evan Longoria bio doc, they have the Battin and Chattin. They got you going right there.
Yeah.
The World Series. It's tough. It's two great teams. I think Texas. If you were to look at Texas, I feel like you would look at them and say they're division champs. The way they've been playing, the way they've been dominant, the way they're structured, but they aren't.
I
They're
said
both, you know.
I think retroactively they should be given the division champion crown from the Astros. They were even. They were even. The Astros had the regular season tiebreaker. The Rangers snatched their chain in the ALCS. I think they're the true division champs. They're the
Mm.
people's division champs.
So it's tough. I really like the Rangers right now. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to Game 7. I think both teams are going to fight it out, and I think it's tough because they're both really dominant. Now, does does good bullpen stop good hitting, or does good and then you got good pitching going up against which the Diamondbacks have good hitting too, but are the Diamondbacks more stacked in terms of hitting, or are the Rangers kind of blow them out?
The Rangers were the highest scoring offense in the league. That's not a
Right.
question. The whole
So
notion that good pitching beats good hitting in the postseason is completely made up. Because the 90s Yankees like completely humiliated the Braves. They beat them 6 straight World Series games. 6 straight. They beat them two times in a row, and then they swept them. Actually, no, it was 8 straight. Because they won 4 straight in 96, and then they won 4 straight in 99. And that's like the best pitching staffs ever assembled. And they just got completely annihilated Greg Maddux every time they played him. So
yeah.
it's like, listen, I don't know. I don't think it matters. I think the better players come out on top. They find a way. So, and I do think the Rangers' offense, their lineup is better on paper.
I'm
And
gonna
I think
say,
it's
all right,
pretty clear. I think Adolis Garcia would be the best player on the Diamondbacks, and everybody peak for peak would be, you'd have probably Semien and Seager ahead of him. So, and he's switch hitting catcher Jonah Heim, Josh Young. They got guys, bro.
then I'm gonna say Texas in 7. Texas wins their first ever World Series.
Oh, good for you. So we're going against each other now. All right,
That's
this
right.
is fun. Fun for the show.
But all right, do you want to move on now to other MLB news?
Talk to me about Dusty Baker.
Dusty Baker, he's now retiring after 26 seasons of managing. Former player and now former manager. As they said after they lost ALCS, he was stepping down, but today was official confirmation he is retiring from managing. He won a World Series with Houston in 2022. He took over after the Astros cheating scandal after AJ Hinch was let go. He came in, he filled in, definitely handled everything well. You could have talked about a guy that come into like a crazy situation. He was the guy to do it. Dusty Baker will now be 74 years old. In his statement, he said, "I am very grateful and thankful to Jim Crane and the Houston Astros for giving me this opportunity to win a championship. I felt like they've been good to me, and I've been good to them." Baker also adds that he plans to remain involved in baseball, but in an advisory role for either the Astros or another team. Now, that is good for Dusty Baker. It's definitely well deserved, man. I remember when he was on the Nationals. I remember when they let go of I think it was Matt Williams.
That's it. That's the
Yeah,
one.
in 2015. After that fiasco, that collapse in 2015, they brought him in. They won 2 NL East, straight division titles the next year. That's when Danny Murphy had his run of like hitting 340 for the Nationals and having him in the MVP talks. So credits to Dusty Baker. Like I said, I think he did a good job filling in for the Astros when that scandal after that scandal, because it was a heated situation to come into. So he was essentially came in and he did a good job. They won a championship, and like he's 74 years old. He's up there. So credits to him. And they almost had the opportunity to go back this year, but just didn't work out that way. And I like what he said when he said, I'm very grateful. Like he's been good to them, they've been good to him. Honestly, it's really not. I don't think there's has been any issues with Dusty Baker there. It's kind of been like a perfect situation. So, credits to him. But what are your thoughts on Dusty Baker and him stepping down?
I'm glad he finally got his ring. I'm mad it was with the Astros, obviously, but I'm glad he got his ring.
And
He went there in 02 with the Giants. He lost. 03, he gets to the NLCS. I don't know why he wasn't with the Giants again in 03. Regardless, he gets to the NLCS, the Steve Bartman game in Chicago. He's manager of the Cubs. They lose. Marlins win and go on to win the World Series. It always felt like he was just behind, like he was just destined to not win. Him winning last year reminded me so much of Andy Reid winning with the Chiefs.
Really?
It was the exact same thing. It was two guys that were constantly
Andy Reid and
close.
Dusty Baker. That is true. I mean,
Always close and never on top. Never. But they were always close. They were always in the hunt. So I just
that is true. That's not a bad comparison.
Yeah, I'm glad he finally got his ring, man. He invented the high five.
I heard.
He invented the high five. Like that, he should be in the Hall of Fame already, just for that contribution.
He single-handedly invented it. Like it was him that.
Well, I mean, not really. You need two people for a high five, but
but he made it popular.
No, like him and another guy were the first. I forget the guy's name. The guy's story. I have to look this up because the guy I have to name drop him. The guy's life story is incredible. But Barry, you want to talk about somebody who needs to make a movie about them? I'd watch Dusty Baker movie. Dusty Baker, invent the high five. Here we go. It's generally accepted, though, that the first real high five was done by Dusty Baker and Glenn Burke of the Los Angeles Dodgers baseball team on October 2nd, 1977. Glenn Burke was the other guy. That guy, you want to read up on that guy. That guy has a life story, man. But
yeah. Why did he leave in 02?
I have no idea.
Interesting. I didn't know he was the Cubs man. He was all over the place.
He was with everybody. Why did
That's insane.
Dusty Baker?
He was with the Reds, I guess, when that was the last of the Ken Griffey era.
Was he really? That's right. That's right. He really is the Forrest Gump of baseball. He's been with everybody. You know who was on deck when Hank Aaron broke Babe Ruth's home run record?
Dusty Baker?
Dusty Baker.
Really?
So, like, he's literally the Forrest Gump of baseball. Like, he's a Hall of Famer, man. Just as a Hall of Fame person. Like, he's just a Hall of Fame person in baseball. 1 World Series, 3 pennants, 3 time manager of the year. 3 pennants. Oh, yeah. I guess. Wait, what?
Yeah.
It's the World Series twice?
With the Giants, and then
one with the Giants, Cubs, Reds, Nationals, Astros. Oh, because they lost to the Braves. I totally forgot about that. But yeah, why did he leave?
They did lose to the Braves, yeah.
Leave the Giants. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're right. They lost to the Braves in 21.
Yeah, I had forgotten that he was there already. Yeah, they didn't renew his contract, so they just wanted out. They wanted a new face. Didn't work out for them. So, what a career! What a career for Dusty Baker.
Yeah,
I mean, genuinely one of the best managers ever. Genuinely one of the best managers ever, and I mean, really, just a good. I mean, the resume is unbelievable.
Yeah, let's clap it up.
He's managed. Oh, excuse me. Where are my manners? His first managerial record. 1993, his first season as a manager. 103 and 59. 1994, 55 and 60. But they have, I mean, an excellent season from Matt Williams, who had a 4.7 WAR at that point in the season. And Barry Bonds, who had a 6.2 WAR. Who knows? Full season. Maybe they get there. Maybe they don't. That was the lockout year, the strike year, excuse me. Really good run with them, with the Giants from 93 to 02. Then from 03 to 06, he's with the Cubs. Two really good seasons, 89 and 74, 89 and 73, 79 and 83. That team started to fall apart, and then the Cubs got really bad. 66 and 96. Sosa's already gone by this point, if I'm not mistaken. They're rebuilding. Kerry Wood fell apart. Mark Pryor fell apart. Their team is a shell of itself. And then he's with the Reds for 4 years and some bad years, and then 91 and 71 with the Reds in 2010, and then 79 and 83. Then he's back in 2012, 97 and 65, another good season, 90 and 72.
So he was manager of that team when they got no-hitted by Roy Halladay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then 16, he's back with the National. Another, the second no-hitter ever in the postseason behind Don Larson's perfect game. Roy Halladay, who's on the field? Dusty. He's the Forrest Gump of baseball. He is baseball. He is baseball.
Yeah.
He's with the Reds, 90 and 65, 90 and 72 in 2012 and 2013, respectively. Goes to the Nationals after a few years off, 95 and 67, 97 and 65. It's just, it is so remarkable. By the way, is this a postseason? No. He was only with the Nationals for 2 years. It felt like a lot longer. It felt like
a lot longer. Like when I looked at that, I was like, really? Like I thought he was there for 18.
Yeah, I thought he was there for it. Yeah,
I thought Martinez came. I thought Davey Martinez came in. I didn't like. I thought he came in 2019. It felt longer that he was on there. Dusty Baker. So when I saw that he was only on there for 2 years, I'm like, really? Because when he came in, that team was like sharp. That they were dominant. You know,
here's one: 15% better than the league average manager with bunt attempts. Huh? Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? But
I'm not really sure why that's a manager stat, but it's there.
But another manager we should talk about, Bob Melvin. He is now the new manager for the San Francisco Giants. Go figure. He is a local guy, apparently, of the Bay Area.
Yep.
3-time manager of the year, and after managing the Giants' NL East rival, the San Diego Padres, he will be now taking over the managerial. He'll take his managerial talents to the Bay Area. Now, apparently, the relationship between the Padres and Melvin has been on the decline for some time now. But even though the Padres had, a disappointing season, Melvin looks forward to starting a new opportunity in the Bay Area where he has some ties.
That was a horrific no call in this game. Listen, Bo Mel has a great reputation around baseball.
Yeah, from what I've heard.
I'm shocked that the Padres are letting him go, but I'm also not shocked. As you had mentioned, it's kind of been a rough year for them.
Yeah, we talked about it plenty.
They
were a little on the show.
Yeah, all reports indicated they were a little not on the same page. So
toxic clubhouse, apparently, because we discussed, it just wasn't working out.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Thank you. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. The Giants to me are like a like when you're a kid in gym class or something like that, and like somebody's blindfolded, and it's like you got to walk them through the obstacle course, right? That's what the Giants are. Do they have any idea what they're doing? This has nothing to do with Bob Melvin, I'm sure, is a nice guy, good hang, whatever. I'd love to get a beer with him. Seems like a good dude. The Giants, do they have any idea what they're doing whatsoever? Can we just have this conversation now?
Well, Dave Kepler.
Bro, they have put the open in stupid. Like, I'm serious.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm listening.
Gabe Kapler, all right, I get it. He's no Casey Stengel or Dusty Baker. All right, fine, whatever. You want to move on from him? It's whatever. You put together a team that literally does not have a starting rotation. They literally did not have a starting rotation, dude. They had 2 starting pitchers. They didn't make the playoffs. How did that happen? Their best player is Wilmer Flores.
You sure it's not JD Davis?
Brandon, stop. Their season was enough of a joke. We don't need to make laughs.
Hey, I mean, not even Michael Conforto. I'm gonna stop there. All right, I'll stop there. I'll stop there.
Mike Yastrzemski. I like. What the hell did they expect this guy to freaking do?
Yeah.
Is that going to change with Bob Melvin? The roster sucks. It's an incompetent roster. It's an incompetently constructed roster. Incompetence, the definition of incompetence is, but what is it? Below expected intelligence for your qualification? Incompetent meaning. I want to be clear here. Not having or showing the necessary skills to do something successfully. A forgetful and utterly incompetent assistant is an adjective. That's the example they use. That's what the Giants have been. They had that one really good season, and then they thought they could just moneyball it and just throw stuff together. Their entire team always gets injured. They don't have a pitching staff whatsoever. They don't have anything that resembles one, and it's pathetic. That's not going to change with Bob Melvin. So, hey, good luck to you, man. Get your money. They're from the Bay Area. God bless. But,
Hey, God bless.
God, it is like watching a toddler ram their head into a brick wall and you can't stop it. They have no direction whatsoever. What do? What's their thing? What's your gimmick? What do you do? Tell me. What do you do? We bank on 35-year-olds to have career years like they did in 2021. That's your strategy? Bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off. Like,
Supposedly.
that's what? I just cannot believe that. Like, they're like, this team should be at this. Look what they did in 2021. It's like, yeah, 36-year-old Brandon Belt had a career year. Brandon Crawford, 35 years old, career year. Buster Posey had a career year. These guys aren't getting any younger. I don't know why. Let's do the math here. There's 32 NFL teams, 32 NHL teams. It's 64. Another 124 teams in North American sports say, as guys get older, they get what happens? They start to decline, Brandon, right?
That's what happens in the nature of the game.
For some reason, the Giants just don't think that that's true. 123 other teams, just did the quick math there. 123 teams think that it's not, a guy 35, 36 years old. You can't bank on it. Meanwhile, the Giants are sitting there like, you know what? I think it's a great idea. Let's not have any young talent whatsoever. Let's not have a starting rotation. Let's not have a pitching staff. It is insane. It is insane. And then they will go on like a heater like they did this season in the first half, and people are like, the Giants are back. They're going to make the playoffs again. And it's like, at the end of the year, when they were out of the playoffs, like there were teams that they finished ahead of that I thought were better. I thought the Mets were better than the Giants.
100%.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Brandon, they don't have a starting rotation. Like I cannot stress enough that they were having guys pitch like 3 innings a game to start games.
Go
And
ahead.
That's a sustainable strategy for us. Brandon, they thought that's a good idea. Brandon,
I'm listening.
do you know how pathetic that is to be a major league roster and not have a starting rotation? That's like starting a game. That's like starting. I know you're a football guy. That's like starting an NFL game in the freaking Wildcat.
Yeah. Every single play is Wildcat.
Your thoughts?
No, yeah. From what you said, I mean, from the team that just has, like, I think it's unfortunate because, like, they haven't really been able to attract any free agents. They thought they had Aaron Judge. The notification was in that, like, he was a Giant, but that didn't happen. Wait, hold on. And they tried to get in Carlos Correa. That didn't work out. So maybe they just haven't brought in the right talent to replace the old aging veterans. Because I mean, they seem to hold on to them. Maybe they're not aging or old, old, but like they haven't been able to, like when you're relying on your veterans to have career years, it's not how it works in the nature of the game of baseball, like you said. And so maybe they just haven't done enough job giving Dave Kepler enough pieces to manage the team. because I just how much can you blame the manager? So Bob Melvin, yeah, sure, good pickup, Bay Area guy, knows that played for the Giants, and sure, good signing. But at the same time, who is he going to be able to manage? He doesn't have Juan Soto, he doesn't have Manny Machado, not Xander Bogaerts. You know what I mean? Like these were dominant players. He doesn't have Blake Snell, who's on a Cy Young year. You Darvish, or even Joe Musgrove. You know what I mean? Like those are so it's gonna be a different team. So hopefully, maybe who knows? Maybe he'll be able to manage. But like I said, I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see because, like you said, I mean, what are they trying to do? Because, like you said, sure, you got Bob Melvin, but like, what's he gonna work with? That's my question. Because what you were just telling me, that's why I have the question for them. What is he gonna work with?
Their strategy is going to be Logan Webb and Alex Cobb. Can you guys give me 8 innings so Camilo Duvall can go 1 inning a game with you guys? And if you win every single one of those starts, it's 40% of your games. The other 60%, you'll luck into some. That's going to be the strategy. They let Kevin Gausman go. They let Carlos Rodon go. Rodon hasn't really panned out for the Yankees, but whatever. He still pitched well for the Giants. They still let him go. Still let Gausman go. Brandon Belt had like a nice little run for the Blue Jays this year. Once again, he's old, so like I'm not like trying to say how could you not keep Brandon Belt? Like, no, like I think that they put too many eggs in the basket of veteran players to begin with.
Right.
Guys that were kind of tailing at the end of their careers. And even Mike Yastrzemski's up there in age. He came into the league as 29 years old. So it's like I don't know what they're doing. I have no idea what they're doing. And this free agent class everybody's talking about is bad or whatnot. Is their strategies go all in on Ohtani? The only reason they're in this predicament to begin with and had to get a manager and had to get Bob Melvin is because the owner asked the general manager, whose name I'm forgetting, and I should get it. If I'm ripping this guy, I should at least be able to back it up. Giants, San Francisco Giants manager, general manager is Pete Petula. Okay. Well, Pete Petula, I'm sure what happened was the owner, the president of baseball operations or the owner sat Pete Petula down, the president of baseball operations, whoever that is, and said, why did we lose? It's either your guys' fault and you guys are out of a job, or you're going to scapegoat Gabe Kapler. They obviously self-preservation.
That's what happened, yeah.
Because Gabe Kapler had nothing to do with this team being unwatchably bad for the last month of the season.
But anyways,
they have talent.
Yeah.
They have talent. They have so many guys that are good 6, 7, 8, 9 in the lineup. They have so many guys. Like, do you know what I would do to get Mike Yastrzemski on the Yankees? Oh my God. Anytime he goes to Yankee Stadium, he turns into his grandfather, Carl. And just starts
is that really,
I'm going to be the best player on the planet Earth for 3 games.
They're related for sure, Carlos.
Oh yeah. Carl's his grandfather. He threw out
amazing.
The first pitch to him at Fenway Park.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
They're tight, man. Long Island legend, Carl Yastrzemski. Polish American legend, like me. My guy, my people.
There you go.
My Pole.
There you go. Now the Mets are set to interview Craig Counsell for the managerial position. Now, the Brewers gave the Mets permission to speak with Counsell. The original goal was for them to deny any interview requests until his contract expired, but they changed their minds. This comes after the Mets and Buck Showalter agreed to part ways after 2 seasons. Does this make sense, Dennis? I think it sounds really good.
Why not just trade Craig Counsell and Buck Showalter?
Just Buck Showalter to the Brewers?
Yeah, just trade them. Traded him. Why not? It's an open secret that Craig Counsell is going to be the Mets manager. He said he's going to be the manager for the last month of the season.
I'm a firm. I would love it. I mean, David Stern seems to like it.
Why not?
Seems like great.
The second David Stearns got hired, everybody thought that Craig Counsell was going to the Mets. Everybody.
It's looking like it every day.
Why not? What's with the facade?
I'm ready for the news right now. I'm ready for it to break.
Right, and everybody
Yeah,
else is. I'm serious. Like, I'm sure he'll do a great job at the Mets. Congratulations, buddy. You guys got
yeah.
yourselves a manager.
I'm excited for it. Now before we head off the show, do you think so? This alluded to my question earlier, and I wanted to save it for now, and then we'll log off. Do you think does being the highest payroll mean you're gonna win a championship like the Mets, or did the Mets and the Yankees and the Padres did they prove otherwise?
I still don't understand how the Yankees are the highest paying team in the league, or one of the highest paying teams in the league. I don't know what the salary's tied up in. Judge, Stanton, Cole. Who else?
Maybe LeMahieu, Rizzo, maybe
All
some
right.
dead payroll, maybe
So my
Chapman's payroll that they're still trying to get rid of.
all right. So my argument fell apart on itself. But listen,
I mean, I don't think I don't think Rizzo and LeMahieu are on big contracts, but still, like, I mean, maybe there's some
LeMay's got a
dead
pretty big
payroll that they're
contract.
they're still trying to pay off. Right?
LeMay's got a pretty big one. But I don't know. Listen, look at what the Phillies have done. The Dodgers have had, good runs. The Padres had a bad season, but whatever. The Mets, we'll see what happens. Like, I just a lot of I get that a lot of people are saying that, oh, look what, the Rays have done and look what the Orioles have done and whatnot. And I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, it's certainly not good for the sport, but I don't know long term, like, if it really is going to matter. Because I don't know. The only real team that's had sustainable success with a low payroll is the Rays. The Orioles, it's like, oh, they have look at one of the lowest paying teams in the league. They got 100 wins. It's like, yeah, but their team is also mostly rookies who, you know, doesn't really mean anything. None of those guys have hit free agency yet, so it doesn't count. Then I'm not
Okay.
going to count it. And then on the flip side, the Rangers are going to the World Series. What's their payroll at? So, like, I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's a tired
Okay.
debate at this point for me.
Right.
I think a lot of these small market teams, it's so BS. I went through it when I was in college and did my college radio show, doing Gable Talk Sports.
That's right.
And I sat down and I literally had all of the sports markets in front of me and just like debunked every single theory about it. It's BS. The sports market thing is meaningless in the 21st century. Meaningless. There's teams that will spend money and there's teams that don't. And I'm sick and tired of these billionaires like being handed a hall pass. Pay your freaking players. Enough with the pump and dumps. Enough with treating it like day trading. It's enough already. Enough. Come on. Sign your players when they're young. Extend them. Give them the money they deserve. Look what the Braves have done. Look what the Braves have done. They've spent money.
Yeah.
It's just you're not seeing it yet because those extensions haven't kicked in, but they're spending a lot of money on that team.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's whatever. There's teams. It's like anything. If you have enough money, sure, you'll be able to succeed. And there's going to be people with less money that are also going to succeed. It's life. But I think people talk about it way too much.
Yeah.
It's such a filler topic to me. For here, it's all right because it actually is kind of topical. The Diamondbacks, that we expected them to be here. But I see it on, like at least once a week on MLB Network, and it's such a filler topic. But
All
yeah,
right.
want to talk about that Juan Soto thing real quick?
Yeah. No. Yeah. I can't forget about that. Do you want to read it off of it?
Of course. According to Andy Martino of SNY, the New York Yankees have already had one preliminary conversation with the Padres regarding Juan Soto. This comes less than 2 years after trading for Soto at the 2022 trade deadline. Martino adds that the strong expectation of rival executives is that the 25-year-old will be available at the right deal. As far as the New York Yankees go, I would love to get a Juan Soto.
Really? And I know a lot of people said otherwise.
Why not? He had 2 bad months this season.
See, I don't know if I'm not sure for Juan. I mean,
Could
I
be
like
a
Juan
nuts.
Soto. I feel like he'd be much better as a Met. But then again, I feel like I don't know. I mean,
What?
do you guys need him in the outfield in the Yankees?
Are you being sarcastic?
I could be.
The Yankees outfield aside from Aaron Judge sucks.
I mean, so wait,
That's not true.
You
Jason
put Judge
Dominguez
in
is a good
center,
player.
then you put him in right field. Soto.
Dominguez in center, Soto in left, Judge in right.
You got Stanton.
Brandon.
I'm sorry.
He's got jokes. It's 12:28. He's got
There you go.
jokes. This
That's
guy,
right. You know, I can go on forever.
dude,
I'm be here all week.
he's 25 years old. He has a career WAR of 28.7 and a career OPS plus of 150. Oh yeah, his 2023. Brandon, I forgot. People keep saying his 2023 sucked. 35 home runs, 275 batting average, OPS plus 158. He was bad, Brandon.
Nah,
He was really, really bad. Led the
well,
league in
listen,
games played. Led the leagues in walk. He was awful. Oh my God. He's unplayable. I don't want this guy. No, not one bit. Not one bit. When's he a free agent? That's what I want to know.
I think it's after next year. After this year.
Free agent 2025 is a year of arbitration, which is more contract BS that I hate. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what we can give up. Anybody not named Garrett Cole, Aaron Judge, or Jason Dominguez is on the table for me. Anybody? They're all on the table. Padres, you got a bad bullpen? You want Clay Holmes?
Yeah, you got Dominguez too. You could put him in the outfield, right?
Yeah,
Imagine that outfield: Dominguez, Soto, and Judge.
it's gonna be great.
That would be pretty. That would be pretty sick.
Hopefully, Dominguez being injured kind of saves him from being in the trade talks.
He could definitely play in New York too.
Definitely. And lefty at Yankee Stadium. Oh my God, a left-handed hitter at Yankee Stadium, buddy. Who would have thought that's a good idea? It's worked for 100 years for the New York Yankees, but we stopped doing it. Oh my God, who would have thought that's an awful idea? I just want the guy in the Yankees, man. He was born to be a Yankee. Born to be a Yankee. I see that guy, I see Yankee. I always did. I always just saw him as he's too good for the Nationals. He's too good for the Padres. He's a Yankee.
He's a Yankee. Okay, not even a Met. Not even if the Mets came knocking. Steve Cohen with the check. No. You could take him. I mean, everyone's saying they might get Shohei. Or, I don't know. There's no way we're talking about that.
At this point, I think Shohei Ohtani is just going to get Latrell Sprewell and just become a free agent for the rest of his life.
It could happen.
That's not true. He'll go somewhere. But I do think that like the Shohei Ohtani price has gotten so ridiculous that like there's a point where even the Yankees like that's just way too much. I'm not spending that.
Right.
Just off the bat, no, I'm out. That's like hilarious to me.
Right.
It's like I'm just gonna go after this Yamamoto kid instead. Why not?
That's what they should do.
Like I just who's he gonna go to? The Dodgers? It's like, what are the financials on the Dodgers? How much money do they have?
Yeah, honestly.
It's like what kind of money laundering are they up to? Don't aggregate that. It was a joke. It's a joke. It was a satire. Whatever legal disclaimer I can use to get out of that one. But that's like what's going on there? It's just like, hey, we already have a ridiculous payroll. We could just throw $600 million as another player. Who cares? It's like
that's true though. Honestly, yeah. Like where are they getting this money?
Where did they get it from? Magic Johnson is that much money? What did Magic Johnson invest in? Like Jordan had Air Jordans. LeBron, he's been in a bunch of commercials. How did Magic Johnson make his money?
You got me.
Billie Jean King is one of their owners. Where's her money coming from?
Right. Yeah. Like
Tennis
honestly,
players in the 70s made that much. Sheesh.
You got me. But hey, anyway, like I said, this ain't no financial network.
This isn't CNBC. Shark Tank. I've been watching a lot of Shark Tank lately, man.
Hey, good for you. No, that's a good show. But I agree though. It's like, we're like, I don't know. That's why I don't know. We're gonna see what Uncle Steve does. It's gonna definitely be an interesting offseason. But for now, we got the World Series, so it's gonna be interesting. But anything else?
Go Devils, go Suns, go Giants.
Go Jets. Jets play the Giants this Sunday. That should be really fun.
Oh, I'm gonna miss the first hour of it too.
Mm.
I'm here working Sundays, buddy. I might call. No, I'm not gonna call out.
We should. Get home at 2. And
Yeah. Maybe stop off, get an adult beverage on the
there
way
you go.
home. Not consume the adult beverage while driving, of course. Wait to get home. Wait to get into my den here.
There you go.
Watch the game.
All right.
Yeah. Have a nice day.
Sounds like fun. Hope everyone should be exciting World Series. Diamondbacks. I have them in 7. I have Texas in 7. You have Diamondbacks in
6.
All right. We shall see. But for now, be sure to check out our revamped website at www.easternobserver.com for the latest news in the world of baseball and so much more. We thank you for joining us in another edition of Battin Chattin. For my co-host Denis Tuohy and the entire Blackjack Media Group team, I'm Brandon Natale saying so long, and we'll see you next time.